manifesto. Otherwise, if I do everything now, if I could, what would I do when I come into office?
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has finally met the press after several calls from sections of the public, and a lot of people are saying it would have been better if I had just kept quiet or ignored the calls on meeting the press. Now, he's met the press and he's made several statements, and out of them stood a couple of them answering a question on why certain promises he's making when he gets elected as a president. People are asking, why can he not do those things now that he's in the office as a vice president, which is the second gentleman of the land? Why can he not do those things now? Bawumia's response to that question was that if I do all those things now, if I could, what would I do when I get elected as a president? Now, does that literally mean that you have the ability to do what you are supposed to do, but because you are seeking to be elected as the president, you are not going to do them? Is that what that means? Let's listen to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We will come back. This is GH Media.
We wanted to do these tax reforms, import duty, flat tax, tax amnesty, and so on. But why don't I do it now? And why do I want to? I must have a manifesto. Otherwise, if I do everything now, if I could, what would I do when I come into office? I mean, how can you do everything now? Even President Mahama, former president, who was president, I'm only vice president, but he was president. Why didn't he do everything then?
And you find the gullible media personalities sitting there clapping for this stupid, unthoughtful statement from the vice president seeking to be the president of the country. Now, let me answer you, Bawumia. You see, Mahama in the office was not sitting on the throne and promising things he would do when re-elected. No. The difference is this: you are still in power, you have the ability, you have the chances to do everything you are promising in the future or for the future. You have the ability to do them now. Mahama did not promise those things when he was still in office. When he had the chance to do them, he was not promising for re-election to do them. That is the difference.
I mean, why is he coming back? He had full authority. I don't have full authority. The budget that has gone to Parliament, which has been passed, is not my budget. Is it my budget? It's not my budget. The budget goes in the name of the president. It doesn't go in the name of the vice president.
You see, the English say what is good for the goose is good for the gander. You cannot say one thing in one breath and then in another you say other, just because it does not favor you. But unfortunately, Bawumia, that is a trait you have left for yourself. People know you for that. You have on multiple occasions vomited and re-licked them because the situation now does not favor you. Bawumia, you know that the budget sent to Parliament is not sent in the name of the vice president but in the name of the president. But you had the audacity to ask 170 questions to the then vice president to answer, and you know that the then vice president was a vice president and not fully in charge, just as you say today you are the driver's mate. Was he then the driver's mate or not? Now today you are saying because you were just the driver's mate, you had no control, you couldn't do everything. Mahama, why didn't he do this? Bawumia, you see, if you want to be a public officer, you want to be the president, you must carry yourself with certain level of dignity, certain level of trustworthiness. You must be a person beyond reproach. But today, anybody can just say anything about you, Bawumia, just because of the way you lie. It's not right, man.
You have to think about what new do you want to do. You come up with new ideas. And I've come up with new ideas which I want to do when we come into office. Everyone who is running for office, whether you are Kamala Harris or you are Bawumia, you still have to think about what you have to do when you get into office. And this is why I'm presenting my new ideas.
Right and fair. Nobody is saying you should not present new ideas, but the question on the lips of many Ghanaians are, why are you not doing those things when you are currently the vice president, having the full authority to be able to implement those ideas you are selling to Ghanaians to be implemented in the future? Those questions still hold. Yes, you have tried to dodge it. You have tried to make humor out of them, humor which I see as stupidity. You have tried to make them, but those questions still hold. So you go sit down, think properly, and then come back. Now, journalists gathered to ask questions, opportunity to ask questions, to probe what you actually are going to do for the country. Out of those, many questions were raised, as I mentioned. And someone in the name of Paul Adumochiri, who mounts a podium, Good Evening Ghana, on Metro TV and makes a lot of noise. Everybody knows Paul Adumochiri as a propagandist. I mean, he's a tool being used by the ruling government, so it's not surprising. Now Paul had the opportunity to ask Bawumia a question, and Paul, out of all things, only decided to rain praises on Bawumia, someone who has failed so abysmally, taking the currency from 4 point something or 3.8 according to them to 16 plus as we speak now, took unemployment from 8% to almost 16% now, took our debt from 120 billion to over 700 billion as we speak, and all you could do is to rain praises, of course, because they are your paymasters. Are these the journalists we've got in this country? It is so disappointing, So you hear them, you listen to them, and you go like, do we actually have a future if we have such people being in realm of affairs of this country as top journalists as they claim themselves?
Good evening, Mr. Vice President and colleague journalists. I think we're having a very interesting time. Mr. Vice President, I covered the NPP presidential primaries in 1998. I covered election 2000. I covered the NDC contest for election 2004, the one between Mills and Kwesi Botwe. I covered election 2004, 2008, 12, 16, 20. I have never seen a presidential candidate, whether in opposition or in government, focusing his campaign to the people about policy initiatives and policies that have been achieved. I also covered the UK election in 2001 for Tony Blair, and I covered also the UK election in 2019. You will find in those places that they were always articulating policy, what can be done, what can be solved. You will find here in all of those historical elections that we were not doing that until Mahamudu Bawumia arrived on the scene. Mr. Vice President, whatever happens in December, you have changed the politics of Ghana and Africa for a long time to come. I have nothing more useful to add except that God bless you.
Thank you, Paul.
God bless you.
God bless you too.
Opportunity was given to you to ask a question. Even if you are going to do their bidding, ask something, ask anything to help Ghanaians understand, sell them at least. Ask a question that will sell your candidate at least, not just stand there and be raining praises on them. How do you think that helps? It doesn't help. It just clearly defines who you are, Paul Adumochiri. You are clearly only for your stomach, but not for the growth and development of this country. Posterity is going to be the best judge. Already we have seen it, but much to come. This is Judge First Media, where we say just as it is, without fear and favor. Thanks for being with us.